that Eugene guy died, EliteAri, but he's not fucking dead. You failed the test, EliteAri. That was the intro, you dumb fuck.
Huh? I guarantee you it wasn't.
It was. We're already recording. This is The Last of Us season. How much longer do we go until EliteAri realizes we're live right now, chat? What are we up to? Season 6, episode 6? Season 2, episode 6?
Yes, we are. Correct. Well done.
My goodness. That was a little inversion on the fucking dead joke, alright? I'm not screaming for Eugene, EliteAri.
Yeah. I like these glasses, though. They were very modern.
He was a funny old man, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But he is fucking dead, so we'll never see him again. So, EliteAri,
Yep.
last week, I think everybody hated the episode, right? No, EliteAri. We hated that it was going to be a flashback episode, and we were complaining a lot. Were your fears lived up to? Did you just despise all this flashback nonsense? Because it was 100% flashback. 99% flashback.
So I completely forgot it was going to be a flashback. I sat down, and then as I pressed play, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be a flashback. So I guess luckily I didn't have to dread it the whole week. But no, it was good. I liked it. Probably without a doubt, best episode of the season, like by far. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
You're an embarrassment to humankind, EliteAri.
All right.
It was okay, maybe.
Well, you didn't like it? Okay.
Maybe. It wasn't as bad as last week. Last week we had those silly Dina scenes that were pretty bad, EliteAri. You remember those?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But, it was annoying me a bunch.
I'm sure it was, because it was like all the important stuff to you. So yeah, I'm sure it was.
Kinda, but kinda not really. And then we were kind of jamming scenes together, EliteAri, but we'll talk about it all. Now, EliteAri, we do one of those Last of Us TV show things where we start with a cold open of something irrelevant. But, I figured out it was Joel and Tommy right away. And then, EliteAri, there was another famous guy that we're all supposed to recognize from one of your shitty shows you like a lot.
Lalo Salamanca from Better Call Saul. My goodness.
No, his
one
name
of the
is
greatest
like
characters
Tom.
of all time. It's so good. He is a really good actor. I think the only thing I've seen him in Better Call Saul. I've seen him in like one other thing, maybe like some Star Wars thing from memory or Marvel thing or something. He was really good in this. I liked him. I was like, oh, this is like a troubled dad here. My goodness.
He was no Drake and Josh, EliteAri.
True. Josh is more famous than this guy in my mind, at least. But yeah.
Other than the pause moment where we're all supposed to recognize him, EliteAri, this guy was very good.
Cool. I didn't even think there was a pause moment.
There was definitely a pause moment where I was like, do I recognize this guy? I don't think I recognize this guy. But there was definitely 2 seconds where it was his face reveal after he walked in.
Okay. No, you know what I thought it was? Because I know what you're talking about. I thought it was meant to be like, oh, this guy looks like Joel. And I was like, oh, it meant to be realizing this is Joel.
I already figured it out. I'm a genius. All right, I like this.
Yeah,
I'll let you have this explanation, EliteAri, because it makes me look better than my original point. But we are back in 1983, EliteAri, when you were still young, and this dad comes home and he's gonna beat his sons to death, EliteAri.
True.
It was very interesting. Immediately, I don't know. You could tell that he wasn't. There was definitely a softness to the character just through the portrayal immediately. So I did definitely go, this guy's pretty good. And then afterwards, I looked up and I saw he was in Better Call Saul on Twitter, so I had to ready myself to make fun of you for liking this loser.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something, this EliteAri won't shut the fuck up about Better Call Saul, and frankly, I'm sick of it.
It is. Lalo is just one of the best performances I've ever seen. Like, in terms of... Like, it's up there with, like, Black Sails performances, I think. I really like Lalo Salamanca. Just for reference, but, yeah.
It's no Black Sails. What are you talking about?
That is true. Black Sails is very
Shout out me, Vinland Saga, watching Black Sails right now, and watching this review, EliteAri.
I know, crazy. What was I going to say? I was about to say something.
He's good. You could tell there was some conflict in his heart, and he wasn't just a scary guy coming home like a generic scene would have, EliteAri. He was cool and nuanced.
Yeah, and there was a moment when he's sitting down talking about how like his dad hit him in the past and broke his jaw out of nowhere. I was like, oh, is the same thing gonna happen now? He's gonna like suddenly out of nowhere gonna hit him, and I was like, oh, I was a little bit on edge, but then I was like, oh, I don't feel like it's gonna go that way. But yeah, it's cool.
And Joel said, you ain't gonna hurt him, because Joel's big and tough. He's like 15. That
Yeah,
was pretty
true.
cool, EliteAri. That was pretty cool. Now,
Yep.
no, something else to say about this. Oh, also they set up the line that we will call back to much later, which I think is kind of silly, but we can get to it, where the dad says to Joel, like, I just hit you with the belt. My dad punched me in the mouth. You broke my jaw. So you'll do a little bit better. And then obviously he says that to Ellie at the end.
Mm.
But I guess we can talk about why that's silly at the end. Do we want to go chronologically here, EliteAri?
Just to give my opinion, just to say it now though, I think it works in this scene. I don't think it works in the other scene.
No, it doesn't.
But
Yeah,
I do
that's
like it
kind of.
here.
There's fuck it, EliteAri. We ate chronology here. What is this? A Chainsaw Man chapter review? Now, EliteAri, obviously, at the end of this episode, we got the greatest scene in history, except it's disgustingly butchered, EliteAri. Actually, not really, EliteAri. Everybody calm down. That's what everybody's expecting me to say, EliteAri, but I'm subversive, you know me. But it's just kind of annoying. There's a bunch of changes I don't really like, but we'll go through them. This is obviously all added. There's no flash. There's no even hint about Joel's parents. I don't think anywhere in the game there's no mention of them, or he's not even like, my old man used to. I don't think there's any of that. The concept of him and Tommy growing up together, I never even thought about it once. Obviously he says it to Ellie at the end. Oh, there's another thing where I don't know if this is the case, but I did see a tweet where like Joel's dad has a watch on and it looks like his watch. So I don't know if it is supposed to be the watch, and it's supposed to be like, oh, that was passed down, just like Joel's line here is passed down, or sort of like it's like I'm not a perfect person. I do bad things, but you still love me, and I still love you, and there's sort of an understanding there about messy relationships. That all fits very much with the Joel and Ellie talk, because the Joel and Ellie story, the whole relationship, especially after the ending of the first game. Before that, they're just nice. They're just a nice young couple of, what do you call that? Father-daughter, EliteAri. Now, it doesn't really work here, because first of all, it probably could have worked in the game. No, it probably wouldn't have. Ellie's not a mother yet. There hasn't really been much focus outside of joking that she's a mother yet. It kind of, I feel like if you're watching the show, you definitely think Dina is going to survive now. But I don't know if you'll even be thinking about that when her fucking brains get bashed in next episode. Or probably next season. The problem is Ellie abandons her kid, EliteAri. Like, she does way worse. Now, that can work. Like, the payoff can be that, like, I don't know, there's interpretations of how Ellie's story ends up, of is she literally like the worst person ever, or is she just like Joel, like trying to do things and does the wrong thing sometimes, but we still love her and maybe Dina still loves her, etc., etc. The other end is like she ruins all these people's lives, she does way worse shit than Joel, then she abandons Dina and JJ, she's never gonna see him again maybe, and like passing it down. So I don't know, it can work in that aspect, or obviously this is a different story, they could just change it. So I guess speculatively it's good or bad. I don't know, EliteAri. What am I saying here?
I don't even know what you're saying. Like, why? So you're saying that because Ellie is a bad parent at the end, then it's sort of the problem. I don't get it.
It's sort of like part of the saying, right, is that the parents are better each time, or sort of the next generation understands, because in this first scene, right, there is a moment where you are expecting him to be like the tough dad, but he's clearly like having an emotional moment where he's sort of realizing how wrong he is in this moment. And then obviously Joel has that in the last scene. And it sort of feels like, oh, it is getting better, like, because of this emotional vulnerability. Whereas Ellie, I don't know, it's so different in the show, because I've been working on a scripted video, EliteAri, so I've been formalizing my thoughts a little bit, even though it might not seem like it, because we're all over the place at the beginning of this episode review here. A big aspect of the game is that Ellie is, like, very alone, even when she's not. Like, Ellie loves Dina. Dina is very much on her side. But Ellie doesn't tell Dina anything. She doesn't tell her about anything to do with Joel, why they're coming after Joel, what Joel did with the Fireflies, or anything like that. Dina doesn't know any of that. And all of Ellie's, like, personal self-hatred and guilt around, like, not forgiving Joel earlier, or like her mixed feelings towards Joel is not explained. It's all internalized, and that's why it sort of seems to come out in more rage than is even necessary. This is especially the case when she goes back, and in the that doesn't feel like the case in the show at all. And also they change it so that they were only feuding for like 9 months, and those 9 months, and it's mostly spurred on by the Eugene stuff rather than the confession stuff. I don't know if you remember any of this, Illyri, but she doesn't find out about the Fireflies like confirmed at this porch scene. She finds out 2 years earlier in a different flashback that they didn't adapt at all, and then they tried to shoehorn. Sounds like a bad word, even though I mean it bad.
Mm-hmm.
Both these scenes into one with the porch scene here, where there's even direct lines lifted from that scene. The scene is where she runs back to the hospital. Outside, she has like a tape recorder that basically is, I think it's Marlene talking about how they're going to make a cure and stuff like that, and sort of blows Joel's cover. And then the Joel characterization throughout the show, we're jumping everywhere, literally. The Joel characterization throughout the show has been very different as well. He has been a lot softer in the show. He has been a lot crier. He cries a lot in the show. I don't think he cries ever in the game. Obviously, that was a big aspect of the final scene here too. Like, Joel is very firm in everything, and he is not apologetic at all. Whereas in this version of the scene, Joel is not outwardly apologetic, but he is like breaking down and crying and stuff. What was my original point, Illyri?
I'm not sure.
It was bad. Or something. Oh, it had to do with the line not working. Where are we up to with that? Didn't you say the line didn't work? Why didn't the line work with you, Illyri? Maybe I'll figure it out by your great explanation.
Because it's like he thinks he's a bad dad. And then I think he's telling Ellie, "Oh, you can be a better parent than me." And I'm like, "Oh, like I can kind of see why you like it. It reminds you of your dad. I get it, but like I don't feel anything else beyond that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's like you're remembering your dad and how you're a bad dad now." But I don't know, it just doesn't land.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Oh, I see it like intellectually, like oh you're making a connection here, but like I don't really feel anything to it."
It is bold in a few choices. First of all, we didn't even say that. Oh my goodness, Illyri, this was the Neil Druckmann episode. Aren't we all just so excited?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. But anyway, the
Okay.
Oh, Illyri, why do you let me say things? Because I forgot where I was going with it. It's very bold. Sort of like the porch scene is a very, like, people like this scene a lot. It's a very anticipated scene. To borrow a phrase from me about 5 minutes ago, to shoehorn sort of the Joel flashback original stuff into that scene is like very bold. To change the context of the scene is also very bold, I think. We're changing it to be like to also be the confrontation scene, and then for her to sort of immediately say she might forgive him. Though another change is like she clearly already knows, and like we are verbalizing her doubts much more. And then like she's mad about the Eugene situation, but it's kind of clear that she's mad about something else because the trailer line where she says you swore, right? He swore that he wouldn't kill Eugene while she went to get the horses, but he also swears at the end of the first season that everything you said about the Fireflies is true. That's the line, Illyri. I know the line.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a bunch of choices where we are fucking with it a little bit, which seems unnecessary. Like, you very easily could have separated the scenes in the episode. I don't know. I guess I don't see the plan. I don't see the outcome. Because I don't think it's as emotionally impactful. I don't know. Maybe you disagree. Were you crying at the end of EliteAri? Did you love it?
I wasn't crying, but the scene was really good. Yeah, like I think the scene alone, I don't know where, I didn't even think about where it's gonna go. I think the scene on it stands alone as a good scene. Like it's perfect. Like not perfect, obviously, it's like really good. Like I like it.
It's just the same thing.
I think the structure of the episode is like really good. Like with the, I was completely like I started the episode and I'm like, oh, I don't like really care about like, okay, so Joel like killed these people. I don't really care that much. And by the end of the episode, I understood from Ellie's perspective that like she just literally can't trust her dad, and it's like a very sad thing. And in the final scene, it's like, oh, I'm gonna try and like trust you now, or like forgive you or whatever. It's like it landed for me very well. Um,
I
yeah.
don't know. This is because this isn't really what you said, but I've sort of always, even in the game, had a problem with Ellie's motivation here, where sort of the understanding at the end of the first game is that Ellie probably would have wanted to die. And my assumption was because she's like a nice, sort of optimistic girl, and that she would like to save everybody. Um, and then in the second game, they sort of reinforce it to be a more selfish motivation of like her life would have meant something. And she repeats that here. She says it in the flashback scene. They sort of cramped into this scene too. And that seems to be sort of like the guiding motivation. I kind of like it because it kind of seems suicidal in a sense, which a lot of Ellie's sort of more reckless actions can sort of be read as that in the game. But her being so hung up on it has kind of bothered me. But it feels like we're sort of muddying it even more here, which sort of confuses me more. I would say the other reason why because they're doing the line by line thing a lot in that scene, which just annoys me generally because I'm like, well, the original scene is so ingrained in my head, so that's a me issue, EliteAri. But other than that, I don't know. I don't like the crying either, but this is like the thing I say about everything. It really is the case where in the game, Joel is like, it's all contextual in the game. Because side by side, the scenes are, well, they're not even that similar because there is all the crying and stuff. This is this is like played like 30 seconds before the game ends. And everything is kind of, everything has gone wrong throughout the game, kind of. You have just let Abby and Lev go, so that's kind of a win. And you are kind of happy about that going into this scene. But this is right after Ellie gets back and Dina is gone, and so is JJ, and everything's gone except for the stuff in her room. And she goes into the room and the guitar is there. And you try to play the song, but she can't play the song anymore because the fucking fingers that Abby bit off, you need them to play guitar, and she can't even play the song anymore. And then she like puts her head on the guitar and she thinks back to this moment. It's like gut punch after gut punch. So when you get to this scene, there's sort of like one layer of the anticipation of it is, oh, is this going to be fucking terrible too? Like, it's very clearly like this is the last scene they ever had together. This is the last moment they ever share together. It's like, and the scene sort of teases it going wrong at every turn, and then it doesn't, kind of. And it's like a very bittersweet feeling to end the game on. So there's the moment where she shows up. Well, this is different. She because we talked about this in episode 1, because obviously they seemingly tried to subvert that we aren't going to get this scene where she just walks past. And it was true that she just walked back and talked to him. In the game, Joel is just sitting there and he's playing the guitar, and then Ellie sort of walks up and surprises him. And then they both get up and they do the little bit of small talk about coffee or whatever. And then it starts to go wrong where Ellie is sort of being mean to him, like, I had Seth handled and whatever. And then this is another aspect, because this is in the episode too, is the Joel being okay with her being gay thing. Is more pronounced, obviously, in this. It kind of works because it is all 10 years older. Like, a dad from 2003 versus a dad from 2013 are probably going to have two different views on gay relationships with their children. So that's kind of a neat little detail. But in both versions, in the game, there is a scene earlier on in one of the other flashbacks where Joel sort of says, like, tries to tease Ellie about Jesse and how, like, oh, she's going to end up with Jesse. And she sort of giggles at him. Which they do adapt that scene. They sort of flesh it out a little bit more because they do have the cat scene where he sort of catches them and everything, which isn't in the game. And this is sort of a payoff to that in the game too, because it's the only other time it's been mentioned, where Joel brings up Dina and then says oh, she'd be lucky to have you or whatever. And it's a very dad thing, but it's also on this whole other layer of like Joel emotionally blackmailing Ellie, because he does that constantly. Like, and you can't tell if it's genuine or it's self-serving, or it's like, which is not in the show at all, because it all definitely feels genuine in the show, which is kind of annoying. Because in the game, like, he plays the song for her the first time at the very beginning of the game, and it's the most obvious emotional blackmail in the world. And you can see on Ellie's face that she like understands that it is, but she also like accepts it. And she sort of doesn't want to um, humiliate him by calling him out too much, which is very much the case in the opening scene of this episode, where it's like the breaking down of the dad in front of the kid is like something that is sort of a little uncomfortable. Um, and it's sort of like the reluctance to even for Ellie to even want to do that and to sort of protect him in that aspect, which blows up later when she gets mad at him. So um, there's that layer, and then like it's like is he being like so supportive in this moment of like, oh, they would be so lucky to have you, is like him just like throwing compliments at her basically. And that's when she says you're such an asshole or whatever. And that's like the first big moment where you're like, oh no, she's like gonna tell him to fuck off, and then she's gonna see him when he's getting his fucking head split open or whatever the next day. um and then the second tease is when he says the I would do it all over again line, um which in the show is like cryy, but in the game is very, very, very like stern and almost mean and absolutely committed. Like, he is completely okay with this outcome of even losing her as long as she's alive, which is the first sort of major indication that it's not entirely selfish, that it is like some sort of unselfish love that he has for her. And then she like cries, and then she says, I'll never forgive you for that or whatever. And you're like, oh no, it's fucked. And then she says the last line. It's like this big emotional release. Whereas here, it sort of feels like the emotional release is before that, because there's all the crying, and like, and then she gets to the line, and then the ending is very different, where like they end with Ellie like saying I'll see you around or whatever, and then she walks off. Whereas here it was sort of, I can't remember exactly because I watched the fucking game scene after I watched this one, but it ends. Do you remember how it ends at all, EliteAri?
Absolutely not.
Like the last line?
Let me hover over it.
Yeah. It is something, because it was no, the last line, and I remembered. It's the dad line. It's the like, oh, and him saying that verbally that he loves her. I really, really, really didn't like. They never say that in the game to each other at all. It feels, I don't know. This is another like subtlety critique I've had with the whole show, where it's like everything that's like unsaid in the game is like screamed in the show. That's from my scripted video, Lyra. It's a pretty good line. And I really don't like that in a lot of these situations, because I really do think a lot of the power from the game comes with you like realizing that it's like an extra layer of fucked up that you didn't even realize initially. So there's all that, and then, because I don't know, tying it into like the generational passing things on thing, I don't know like what the outcome of that is in the thematic journey of The Last of Us, especially The Last of Us Season 2. Or part 2, or season 2/3. Anyway, Leary, did that make any sense? What the fuck was I talking about there?
Oh, you just talk about the game. I don't know anything about the game, so I don't have any opinions on
True.
this.
We gotta get a
But,
Leary to
yeah,
react to Leary. 6 hours. You'll sit down, you'll watch all the scenes again.
Maybe.
Just like Doctor Who.
Yep. That's true. Yeah,
I should make a joke right now about how you're faking your reactions, and it's your second time watching those too.
It is, yeah.
Anyway, it was all different, and it was all bad, EliteAri. We hated it, and you liking it is pissing me off right now.
Yeah, so
what do you like about
I
it,
guess I don't
EliteAri?
really care. I was gonna say I don't really care about any of like the stuff that you cared about in the scene, I guess. Like, I'm not thinking about any thematic things. I'm not thinking about any Ellie's journey things or anything like that. I like this scene for a very similar reason to how I like the scene where Joel came into the room in like episode 1 or 2. I think it was episode 1, right?
Yeah, where
and he's like really nervous and stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, not when he barged in.
No.
Wait, no. When
You are talking
she's
about
in the garage or whatever, wherever she lives, and he like walks in and asks her to do something, and he's like upset when he doesn't like when she doesn't like reply to him, and he like walks out, and you thought he was
He takes
upset,
the
and I thought he was
guitar,
like
right?
devastated. Like, I don't remember exactly the scene, but that was it was a while ago, and that was really good because it showed like Joel's kind of insecurity, or like very like he's just like utterly depressed because he was hoping for something to happen that didn't happen or whatever. I think this scene is like very similar, the appeal of it, where he like has the scene at the was it New Year's? Is that what they were celebrating?
Yeah.
I assume. Yeah, he's like there. He like has to leave, and then like we follow his perspective of the scene now, where he's clearly sitting outside because he's hoping that Ellie will notice him and come talk to him, but she doesn't, and it's like he's like insecurity where he like kind of feels dumb for ever hoping that she would have ever talked to him. And he has that moment where we're like looking at him before like Ellie comes back, and he's like utterly depressed because he's like plan like didn't work basically, and it's like it's just so crushing to see. And
I
then
didn't
she
think about that
does
at all.
come up. Well, that was the I guess the whole appeal for me. But then like she does come up, and he's like just it's I guess in that moment I understand why he would break down there because it's like I for a second there I thought that it was happening again. There was nothing I could do, but here I have like a chance to do something. Um, I don't know. I guess that's
Yeah,
my
I
main
can
appeal of this,
like
where
it
it's
doesn't.
like,
It makes sense for this Joel to cry here. I just don't like everything that's led up to that change, including the change here. I guess. It does make sense what you're saying about him sort of try because she does have to walk past there to go to her garage.
yeah,
So that's kind of cute. Um, I guess that's another because it very much is in the game. She walks up and he's completely caught off guard. Um, So we chalk that down to another change, EliteAri.
true.
I did have a paragraph of notes here, EliteAri. Maybe I should have referenced this. I will say, I don't know. The part of it, like the emotionality of the scene, did hit a little bit, but I do think it's probably just because I'm like, oh my god, it's the scene. Everybody's the scene. Oh my god, it's the scene.
True.
And then it did sort of dissipate as it went, and there was the crying and the I love you stuff, sort of two thirds of the way through that I didn't like. Actually, all these seem to be repetitive notes. I don't like him saying I love you out loud. I don't like him crying through the scene. You're such an asshole. That's just a line, EliteAri. Combining two scenes, it feels pettier in the show. It feels less mature. In the game, it feels like a woman approaching her dad with a legitimate grievance rather than a teenager having a spat. Ellie does not do a little better than Joel, lol. True, we already said that. She's kind of another fake parent. True. How little The Last of Us... Yeah, we already talked about all this shit, EliteAri. This didn't help at all. Fuck notes. It's a terrible fucking subject, EliteAri. It's a terrible concept, rather.
Before I talk about what's bad about this scene, there's two lines I want to read out.
Oh my goodness,
but
bad
first
things?
I want to say just more on the because I was reading my notes and I made one more note about the just why this episode is very good and I liked it landed a lot from Joel's perspective, which is the scene. I don't know how to describe the scene. They're in the house and Ellie is like wanting to move outside, and it's like the confrontation scene at the doorway where she's like, "You don't own anything," and like in that moment, it's like you know that the next sentence to come out of her mouth is gonna be like, "You're not my dad" or something like that. And that like Joel obviously knows that in that moment, and that's what stops him from kind of going further and like kind of getting upset at her. It's like he knows that like his insecurity of like this girl's not gonna love me, it's not going the way I wanted, kind of stops him from doing that. From like it's what lets him kind of let her live outside or whatever.
I didn't think that
and I think
at
that
all
is
either, but that's a good point.
yeah. So it's that's like when you have this scene here, you have the first scene in the shed like a few episodes ago. You have this scene here where he's kind of having a similar thing, and then at the end it kind of like lands with the final thing of like him expecting her or hoping that she will come to the porch and she doesn't. And it's like yeah, it's the three scenes that, like all come together to be like, oh, this like really lands for me from Joel's perspective. But
Yeah. God damn it. There was something I wanted to say about that fucking confrontation scene. Oh, I guess I think the you don't own anything line is also supposed to reference that they're communists, which is mentioned in season 1, where it's like nobody owns anything. It's
oh
all
god, I don't remember that.
So I think that's I think that's supposed to be the surface layer thing. I think yours is supposed to be the subtextual meaning there. But it is like it is like they're playing house, but they aren't really. Where it's like Joel is relying on it being like, oh, I'm the dad, so what I say goes, and this is my like that's something parents say, right? This is my house, you'll do what I want or whatever. But it's not his house; it's their house, and she isn't his daughter. Plus, she's 17 now, EliteAri, so she's like an adult.
Not yet, but almost, yeah.
She's got a 19-year-old girlfriend, and she's allowed to go on patrol, EliteAri, so she's pretty much an adult.
Wait, she was allowed at 19, right? I think.
Oh, yeah,
Wasn't
I think that was later, yeah. Or was that?
So
yeah,
at that point, she's an adult, right?
Wait. Yeah, it is.
You're welcome. Yeah.
You didn't even remember that
I
they were
want to say my
communists,
bad
EliteAri. I
lines?
don't want to hear anything from you.
We got 2 bad lines, okay, of dialogue in this final scene. They stood out. I was like, oh no, we're doing it again. We're
Better
having
not be
bad
game
lines for some
lines,
reason.
Ellie,
We
or I'm gonna
shouldn't.
punch you.
Number 1, okay, I think this is Ellie. It's not in correct order here, but she said, "But I would like to try."
That's a
And I
game
was like,
line,
oh,
Ellie. You're getting
this
punched.
is really bad. Like, I wonder if it's delivered better in the game or something.
Of
Like,
course it
instead
is,
of it's the
EliteAri.
wood. The word wood is like not it feels so stiff and weird. She should have said like, "But I'd like to try it." But she says, "I would like to try," and I'm like, "Oh, it's
Holy
like a weird
fuck,
like.
does she
Why
say
is it so
I'd like
formal?"
to try or I would like to try in the game? Because I can
Yeah,
hear
I don't
them
know.
both in my
But
head.
it comes across weird in the show.
No, she definitely says, but I would like to try.
It
No,
might
she
just-
doesn't,
I'm-
EliteAri.
I don't
don't
think-
know.
Oh god, the line itself isn't bad. It might just be the delivery of it.
Yes.
I mean, it is just the delivery of it. It's weird. And then the other one, this is almost certainly not in the game. It's when Joel says, "If you should ever have one of your own."
True.
And I'm like, the line itself is fine, but it's the should. Like, if you should ever have one of your own. It's so formal and like doesn't feel like someone would ever say that. I don't know. It was weird.
That kind of
Yeah.
feels like a southern thing, right? That's like what southern United States people would say.
There's a way to deliver that line for it to work. It was not the way he delivered it.
Okay. So it was the delivery
yeah.
on should, not the should.
I mean, I feel like that's the case for almost every line.
True.
Like that's just bad. I don't know. It's like you could probably deliver anything really well, right?
Except for those bad
yeah.
lines that are clipped out into 9-second YouTube videos from the hit TV series Cowboy Bebop.
Maybe I don't even know what you're talking
Remember
about.
that
Maybe.
one video that has like 7 million views where it says a screenwriter actually thought this was good, and it's that guy from Cowboy Bebop talking about eating testicles.
Absolutely not. Oh wait, from the live action one. Yeah.
Yes,
okay,
of course. What do you think? I'm besmirching the great original series?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Unbelievable. True. There are plenty of bad deliveries in this fucking episode, Alira. I tell you what, but I believe you that those are some of them. Anyway, Alira, we can backtrack a little bit here.
I have one note.
Oh my goodness.
On the first scene, just before we go past the first scene, which is like, again, we talk about Blind Wave all the time.
The Great Blind Wave.
All I was thinking in the scene, whenever I see an abusive parent, I think of Shane Farley. Not because he's an abusive parent, but because in the Blind Wave podcast, he always talks about his dad and how he would beat him as a kid, and he'd like turn it into funny stories, and he turned him into like a comic book character and stuff. And it's just like, it's ruined like my perception of any form of like abusive parent, because I was just think, oh my god, it's like Shane's story, and it was like so funny when he told it. So I'm interested to see if he'll react to this and if he'll like point that out or whatever. Because also this guy's like a policeman or something. And I think Shane's dad was also like a policeman or something. It's like kind of funny, but
now the lefties do say, EliteAri, that policemen do beat their kids and wives more than any other occupation or something. So it would fit.
Maybe I don't
know if that's true, EliteAri, but I hear it a lot.
True.
Also, EliteAri is what you get when parents don't hit their children. So everybody keep that in mind.
That is true. I've never been hit by my parents. That's
true.
That's
an insane thing to say, EliteAri. That's an insane thing to say. Anyway, EliteAri's older than me too. He should be the one making fun of me for not getting hit. Embarrassing. Now, true. That opening scene, what a great scene, you know. Whenever we're not adapting stuff from the great video game and ruining it, what a good show this show can be. Yep. Oh-wee. Then, EliteAri, we're trading Legos.
Yeah, with what's his name?
The great Seth. The most important character in this whole show.
True.
But yes, and he needed a cake, but then he didn't even make a good cake, EliteAri.
I mean, he made a good cake, but it was just like didn't spell it right?
True. Ellie just put her fist through the cake. And then I thought it was really bad. But then
the cake?
No. As a gag.
The fist through the cake?
And then I was like,
oh, okay, that's funny. Okay, go ahead, yeah.
But then it won me over when they like giggled at it afterwards for whatever reason. I was like, this is the fakest TV show thing I've ever seen in my life. No child would do that. And then they were giggling about it afterwards, and I was like, oh, now it is a very genuine. Now this feels descriptively real, EliteAri. Oh my goodness, it turned me around in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, I guess I would say I like the gag. Like I thought it was funny. I did not like, and this is like one of my first notes in this episode. I said that like these two acting like a happy family just doesn't work for me. I don't know if it's because I just like don't buy that, like I just don't buy that like Ellie is like a happy kid sometimes. It's like weird to me. Now I don't know if that's just me not remembering season 1 that well, but like it's just like strange. I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right. They're like being genuine and happy and having moments of like laughter and stuff. I'm like, I
She's
just don't like
like,
it.
because they really, and this is kind of, I don't know, this is another thing about the show. She is like very like, I don't know if bubbly is the right word, but they're not like, there's no like moment in the first season where they're like together being happy. Like Ellie is like trying to make Joel crack by reading him puns and stuff, but Joel is like, "Shut up, I hate you," or whatever. Um,
Yep.
and then like Joel's emotion of like care for her comes out, but it's only when she's like kidnapped and she doesn't see it. Or like right as she's like killing David at the end of the winter episode or whatever. And then in the last episode, she's like very distant, because she's like traumatized and stuff. And then like obviously he does everything, but then he has to lie to her. So it does feel like we haven't really done the legwork in a sense for the relationship. I know this is like a critique everybody has for the show. But this also brings it like next week is the last episode of the Ellie story in The Last of Us Part 2, which is crazy.
It's
like
crazy.
Jesse is gonna die next episode, and like, do we give a fuck about Jesse yet? Obviously, we could.
Absolutely.
Really? He's been like one season.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's been a constant presence throughout this. I would list him as one of like the main characters of this season so far. He's been like in a
That's
bunch of
true,
stuff. He even
but
showed up
that's-
last episode. He's in like the flashbacks in this one. Like he's in a bunch of stuff.
He, do you think he has more than 25 seconds of screen time in this episode?
Probably not.
It's not the
But
screen
it's a
time that
presence. Like
matters,
it's like
speed it up.
yeah, it's like saying like you know that guy the whatever the oh my god Seth or whatever. Like is he a big character? I'd say
Bigger
yes.
than Jesse, probably.
No, I'd say they're like in my mind they're like pretty similar, and I'd say they're both big characters in this, like the influence they have.
I know Jesse's gonna die, and I feel like Jesse, we hardly knew ya.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll have to
No,
see.
I feel like I know him. I'm gonna miss him.
Don't worry, all the great ladies that we're gonna watch react to it are still gonna cry. EliteAri, it'll be okay. But also next week could be 90 minutes long, and we could have an hour with Jesse, and we'll fall in love right as he dies. You know, like a Walking Dead episode.
True.
Now, what was my next? We're trading Legos, EliteAri. That's crazy. Oh, Ellie burnt herself. That scene was kind of funny too. She was on drugs, EliteAri.
Yep.
But I have a complaint here where he's calling her baby girl way too much. I didn't like that, EliteAri. Now,
yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Yep.
It was pissing me off.
I also agree somewhat. Yeah.
Hold on, EliteAri. I'm scratching my nose. I can't look at my notes at the same time. Oh, and he finally sang the song to her, EliteAri. Did you cry?
I was just like, oh, I'm looking forward to this being over. Like, it wasn't that bad, but I was like, oh, this is like, this probably means something if you've like played the game. But like,
he
I don't
was
really
like
care
a
about
bad
this.
singer, like worse than Troy Baker was in the game.
He was, yeah. That was one thing I noticed. I'm like, I wonder if he's actually good in person and he's like pretending to be bad, or if he's like so bad that he just can't.
No, I
give,
feel
like
like
a good
he's just an
performance
actor
yet.
that doesn't like singing, and it's like, oh fuck, I gotta sing for this goddamn role now. I'm already into the second season. I got my money. I gotta do it. Goddamn it. Bella Ramsey wasn't very good either, but she was a little better than this.
I don't remember her being bad at all. He was like notably. I was expecting more.
Yeah, it is funny because they do keep the line from the game afterwards where she's like, "Well, that didn't suck," and I was like, "Oh, kind of did," you know.
That's what I was gonna ask you, because is that what Dina said like when Ellie played it, or not at all?
No,
so like,
she says something
like
similarly sarcastic, but it's not the same. No, maybe she says that in the show, because I feel like in the game right afterwards she says, "You should have kissed me then," or something, because they were talking about a bonfire thing that they cut from the show. They might have said that in the show. Now I'm mad that if I didn't pick that up.
All right, I'll go back and look.
Obviously the cool part about the song scene in the game is that like it's at the beginning and like he's emotionally blackmailing her. Here it's just like a positive moment, so it is like, it does feel like it's just like, oh, this is just like because everybody from the fandom likes this song now. But it's like, I don't know, the song has more weight as sort of like a thing Ellie almost misremembers as a completely positive thing that kind of isn't. There's just more layers in the video game, EliteAri, you know, it's just much better. But anyway, here it was.
Yep.
Everybody's very excited. EliteAri, it didn't come out for 10 years until after the apocalypse. What's up with that?
Well, in that universe it did.
Crazy.
Clearly, because they like knew it. So yeah.
It's true. The song is emblematic of. Oh, I already talked about all this fucking shit, EliteAri. Here, it's pure positivity. EliteAri, 17.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait. Dina's about to say something. She said, "You've gotten pretty good." Okay.
EliteAri fails once again. Now, EliteAri, 17 and 19, problematic or not?
It would depend on like a bunch of stuff. In this case, I have no
True.
idea. I don't know enough about the girl to. Yeah, I don't know.
If she's an actress that looks about 26, is it problematic?
I don't think the appearance has much to do with it. I think it's more so the
trying to be funny, EliteAri.
Oh, okay. Right. True. No, inappropriate if they look older. Not good.
Anyway, I'm a big fan of the great cat EliteAri. You know, never in The Last of Us part 1, part 2, or part 1 EliteAri. Here she is.
I was able to recognize that we'd seen this character before because you'd mentioned her, and I was like,
True.
this is like that important character. And I I was like, yes, I remember.
She gave Ellie her tattoo.
So thank you.
And it's of a moth, EliteAri.
Yep.
Now, what do moths symbolize, EliteAri? This is unironically something I've thought about for about 4 years. So it was kind of funny that the show kind of tried to give an answer here. I didn't like the answer at all, but that's okay. Because EliteAri, my famous video that's never going to come out, EliteAri, it's called The Moth and the Firefly. Oh, genius, EliteAri, genius. It's about Ellie and Abby, EliteAri, because Abby's a great firefly, EliteAri. You get it? She was a firefly once.
That makes sense.
She's a firefly at the end. And Ellie's guitar's got a moth on it. She's got a moth tattoo. And the titles and the loading screen of the game has moths going to a light. Crazy, EliteAri. She's the moth. Now, EliteAri, are you trying to think? Moths are like scary? Is moths supposed to be a lesbian thing? Is there something I'm missing from lesbian culture that's all about moths? I don't know, EliteAri. But here, do you remember what the conclusion is here? It's written on a piece of paper.
Oh, I thought it was death because that's what the woman
That's what
said.
the girl
But then
says.
On the paper, it was like it was something about purpose. Or
Yeah, it was like
right?
You have a greater purpose or something, which obviously ties into Ellie's like, I'm sad that I didn't get to die thingy, which is kind of boring. But I guess the firefly thing is about a greater purpose too, right? When you're lost in the darkness, you got to look for the light, EliteAri.
True.
But also, it could just mean when you're killing somebody from vengeance, and then that crazy little girl comes and kills all your friends, you still got the great Lev, and you can keep on going.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
That's what it means to be a firefly.
It's
Don't worry, I lost ChatGPT. Okay, we'll figure it out.
And
yeah.
It just means that Abby is way better than Ellie, you know, because she's the great firefly, and moths suck. Anyway,
Joel Did you see fireflies in this episode?
Huh?
Don't we? Wait,
I didn't hear what you said. You said firefly?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we see a bunch of fireflies in this episode, right?
Like literally?
Yeah, literally. Like when she looks at the tree, and I was like, oh, I had to go back.
I paused it, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But that because I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out if like because there was like a fallen down tree or something, right? And I was like, did the things look like the firefly symbol? Because I got that that's what they were going for, but I've just now realized that there were probably fireflies literally flying over the water. Makes a lot of sense.
And they look a lot like leaves, and I was like, why is she looking at the leaves? And then I'm like, oh, they're meant to be fireflies.
I did rewind it a few times to be like, oh, she's just spacing out or something. I thought the show was being subtle. I was like, oh, they're not showing us what it is. So we just got to interpret what she's maybe wondering about. There is, I think it's with Lev though. There is a moment where they find literal fireflies in the game. I think it's with Lev and Santa Barbara though. So wasn't Ellie. Anyway, at one of the points in one of the flashbacks, they do see a spray painted firefly, and it has the word liars written underneath it. So that was a little sad. And then Joel says, "Forget about that. Let's go." What a piece of shit, EliteAri. What a piece of shit. This Joel in this fucking version's just everybody's favorite guy. Disgusting. Joel was mad about the gay stuff, EliteAri. Any comment?
I was not really. No, it's like okay, makes sense, I guess.
Being bad about gay.
What, was he not mad in the game? No, you said he was even madder in the game. Was it?
No, he wasn't. Right? He never fully commented on the gay stuff in the game.
Okay.
He just thought that the great Ellie and Jesse, they were gonna kiss, but he was wrong. Indirect, because they're kissing the same girl, EliteAri. Booyah.
Yep. True.
There's an interesting implication in the game that Oh, true, EliteAri. Because, like, if you think about, like, the timeline of what we know about Ellie's past, it's entirely possible that Kat, like, showed up right after she said, Joel, I'm never talking to you again. Fuck off. And then she's sort of, like, absent. and then she doesn't talk about her. So, you know, you can just construct a little timeline about the game, whereas you can't in the show where you're just fleshing things out and it all overlaps, and, you know, it just does it for you, literally. It's boring. It's anyway, that was the rest of that note. What's with the moths? You have a
Nice.
greater purpose. True, but also death. The great Gale showed up, EliteAri. Don't we love her? Remember when I hated her in episode 1?
Yep. That is true, and I've liked her
cool.
the whole time, and she was great.
I guess we can, because the next note is about Eugene, and it is the last note, because we talked about the last bit. The characterization on Eugene was really cool. I don't know, I liked it quite a bit. Obviously, we never meet Eugene in the game, and he seems like he doesn't have a family. Well, he actually abandoned his family to go with the Fireflies or something like 20 years ago. So everything about Eugene in the game is different. But him being like, I don't know, how would you describe his personality, EliteAri? I thought it was a clever, like, juxtaposition to his wife. He was, like, needy.
He seemed like a very, kind of, well, he's,
trepidatious.
I don't know the correct words.
Like, he felt whittled down, but, like, he wanted a payoff to his marriage at the end of, like, he wanted to see her cry over him or something. Which he did do, which was interesting.
Yes.
But he didn't get to do it because Joel took him to a pretty valley and then shot him in the head. Now, do we buy why he shot him in the head? Like, it's supposed to be like, oh, he doesn't want to risk Ellie at all?
Yeah. I buy it.
Ellie can't get infected. Like, if he jumps on Ellie, like, he can just shoot him. I don't know. I feel like it's I don't know, it feels like an obvious dramatic beat, I guess, from a storytelling perspective of like, oh, this is going to create conflict. But I feel like even if I was in this real life situation, I'd probably think like, she's going to be mad at me for this. I should probably just do this. Like, it's not actually that big of a risk. I don't know. But he's like obsessively protective, EliteAri, and that's why he does bad things, etc., etc. This is just another instance of it. Can you believe it?
Yep, I can.
No, I didn't believe it.
It is interesting. I do need to think about it. Because I had assumed I hadn't really thought about it until I'd finished the episode now. Because when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, okay, so she's obviously, he's promised to her that he's going to make sure that he doesn't kill him. And I assumed, okay, he's going to go away and then make it look like, no, he's going to kill him, absolutely. But then he's going to say, oh, like he turned quicker than expected. And I thought he was going to lie in that regard. But he didn't lie really at the end. He just like, didn't really say much. Or was like, it's assumed that like she knew exactly why he killed him.
It is true that in like
the
therapy scene, she's like, "Oh, I know you had to do it or whatever," but he didn't have to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little weird.
Well, it is against the rules of the city. So from her perspective, it could be like, "Oh, I get like, you know, you're not allowed to have people come back here."
I don't know. Just shut the gate and have him stand outside. She can shout from the top of it.
I mean, it's probably just not allowed to even bring them near. I would imagine. Like, it's probably some perimeter where it's like you can't bring back like infected.
A bunch of pussies on guard. And it is. Oh, this is actually a little reference to season 1 too, where she like makes him stick his hand out or whatever, and that's what Marlene was making Ellie do in Count to 10. That was actually Ellie's first scene, EliteAri, in the television program.
That's crazy. I do remember that actually. Yeah.
Her first scene in the video game is she jumps out of a closet and tries to stab Joel a bunch of times. It's pretty cool. Much cooler than this shit TV show. It's like 3.5 hours into the first game, too. It's crazy. Anyway. Fucking Sarah died, EliteAri. Can you believe it?
I can, yeah.
That was the opening.
We saw it in this show, too.
True. And Joel was a little bit better with her. He didn't lie to her. Lied to his dumb fake kid, though. And look, the dumb fake kid's going to kill Mel and Owen next episode, EliteAri.
Yep.
Oh, if you're spoiler-free...
Really? Owen's gonna die? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ellie's gonna
I know he dies eventually, but I didn't know it was like happening in that scene. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same scene. Ellie fucking stabs that sumbitch. You know, she shoots him, I think, and then stabs in the fucking neck and says, "Where's Abby?" And he can't talk because he's fucking choking on blood. And she just shanks him in the neck and says, "Fuck you, bro." And then she kills Mel, and then she sees that she's pregnant, and then she cries a little bit. And then Tommy shows up and says, "Ellie, we gotta go." And then they run off. And the great Abby sees it. But before it, she stabs that fucking dog in the neck, EliteAri, the great Alice.
I'm so sad.
I was sad.
I'm so glad the horse is still alive.
The great Shimmer is still in that that apartment, that shop.
Yep. I wonder if they talked about it in the behind the scenes thing, like mentioned it at all. Like, oh, we decided to save the horse this time. We know how much people loved it. I don't know.
This fucking horse is gonna die. I don't know how they're gonna do it next episode. Oh, don't watch the preview, EliteAri, because if you watch the preview, every comment is a joke about how Jesse's gonna die. Because Jesse in the trailer says, "I didn't come here to die" or something, when him and Ellie are like running away from scars earlier in the episode, and everybody has it timestamped and says, "Well, stay away from the door then, Jesse."
Maybe he will. Maybe this will be the
Maybe
moment the show
he
changes.
will. Maybe the great Dina will die.
Do you think there is going to be a? Because if I'm writing the show, and you know you have two audiences, you have like an audience of the game, and you have an audience of people who just
And an
watch it
audience
for the
of
first
Better
time.
Call
I
Saul
imagine
fans, apparently. Disgusting.
that is true. Very literate people who understand filmmaking and filmography and all that. But yeah, so you're gonna have two audiences. Do you really? Because the shock in the original game is like really shocking, right? When suddenly Abby's there and
So
like she
fucking
kills,
cool, bro.
kills Jesse, and it's like really crazy. Do you think they'll do a similar thing to try and trick the gaming audience to make it seem like, oh, it's actually not happening in this scene, it'll happen like a separate scene, and it'll like you kind of think, oh, they're really going to change something, but then it happens and it shocks both the people who don't know it was ever going to happen and the people in the game who like know it's going to happen, if you know what I mean.
I
Like, do
know
you
what
think
you
they change
mean,
it to kind of surprise us?
but I feel like
Um,
there's... First of all, you didn't play the game, pussy. Second of all,
hey, I know the story though.
I just don't know what you would do.
Well, you just like play out the scene further and then just be like, oh, I guess no
Like,
one's
he
gonna
dodges
die,
the
and then,
first
like,
bullet, then he's like down
yeah,
there with... And then he tries to like flank her, and she just like punches
maybe, yeah.
him. I don't know. You could do something like that. I don't know. I feel like, just like with everything, they'll try to do it exactly the same, but they will hobble one word and make it sound bad, and then it'll just be a little bit worse.
Uh-huh. Wait, are we gonna see the oh, I don't remember the gender, but the person with Abby?
The
We
Great
see them
Lev.
next time?
In the preview,
Lev?
I almost thought they were doing the Yara Lev introduction scene where we break her fucking arm with the fucking hammer, bro. But no, it's
I hope
Ellie.
so.
Ellie is getting dragged to a scar to get the what do you call it?
Okay.
Disemboweled. And then, I don't know, Tommy's
Right.
going to show up and shoot somebody or something.
Mhm.
So I don't think so. And I don't think we ever got any casting news, so...
No, wait, I was gonna no, wait. What I'm saying is that are they in the scene with Abby? Aren't they?
They
Or are
aren't
not?
shown. They are there. They just are like hiding off camera, I guess, for the when you see it the
Oh,
first
okay.
time. It is
Okay.
true because because Abby tells him to wait outside,
Mhm.
and then she goes in. But then she does. Lev does end up in there because he does shoot Tommy in the leg, and that's what fucks up Tommy's leg.
Okay. Yep.
But I think it's later. And because Lev shows up to
Yep.
right before she's about to fucking slit Dina's throat, bro. And she goes, Abby. And then Abby looks at Lev, and then looks at Dina, and then goes to do it again, and then looks at Lev again, and
Yep.
says, I already bashed this bitch's brains in. I don't even need to slit her throat. Oh, it's the greatest moment in video game history, Larry. I cried. Now,
Yep.
but we aren't going to get that stuff. I think it's just going to be Jesse dead. Cut to black, I guess? Do you think we see the beginning of like the Abby flashback to tease like TV audiences that season 3 is going to be Abby? They're going to be mad about that, EliteAri.
I have no idea.
Like,
Maybe?
I feel
don't
like
know.
the urgency that you're like immediately playing as is like a a big thing. You're like, I don't want to play as this dumb bitch. And you're playing through and you're like, oh, I guess I'll collect this coin. I guess I'll talk to this guy over here. I guess I'll do this. Oh, it's a zebra. That's
Yep.
pretty sad. Oh, it's a dad. That's the great Marlene again. Oh, they're all fucking dead. Oh, look, it's little Owen. And then they jump out of the Ferris wheel into the water, and then they make out, and then they see a seal. My goodness gracious me.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but yes. Oh, I do remember. I remember now. It just came back to me. Okay, yes, thank you. Okay.
But then
Yep.
Abby doesn't want to fuck because she wants to go back to practice so she can pump some iron so she can kill Joel. And Owen goes, oh, I'm going to get another girlfriend then, bitch. But that happens like 2 years later.
Right. Of course.
And then, let me tell you about a fella named Isaac. His introduction is going to be cool. Oh, they already did that.
We've already seen him. It was really cool.
Lame.
Yeah, I liked it.
It sucked. It was bad. Anyway,
Drake
EliteAri.
and Josh.
Oh, wait, no. I didn't read any of my Eugene notes. being the catalyst for the whole conversation. You swore. That was in the trailer, EliteAri, but it wasn't in the context we thought it was. That's crazy.
Actually, what do you think about that line delivery? Because I thought it was good, actually. I bought it. I'm like, this is good. Good
Yeah,
delivery.
it was okay, you know.
All right.
It was from the trailer, so, you know, I saw it when it happened.
Mm.
What she's actually mad about, oh, this was all speculation, thinking that they weren't going to do it. Because I thought the most ballsiest thing was that they were never actually going to have the conversation, and it was just going to be implied that she knew the whole time. But no, then they had the conversation. Joel fucking started crying. It was pathetic. Joel watching the dance. That was pretty cool, Leary. I don't know. He was what do you call it? Not stewing in the corner watching. There's a word, Leary, you know, stewing.
Sitting.
No,
Yeah.
you're an idiot. He was solemnly watching. He was brooding in the corner, something like that. And
he wasn't even brooding.
There were long shots of his face looking at things, and I was like, "Oh, you can feel the emotion right now. This is sad." You ever be watching a party and be on the side of the area and be like, "Man."
Maybe. Yeah.
It's a cool emotion. We didn't talk about I didn't make a single note about the museum, EliteAri. Take it away.
Yep. They go to a museum, and all I'm thinking is, oh, I remember the scene from the game.
All I was remembering is, I hate this fucking scene from the game. My hate EliteAri is exaggerated because people talk about liking it all the time, and it annoys me. But even in the great video game, the line when she's on top of the dinosaur and says, "I'm on a motherfucking dinosaur," absolutely terrible delivery in both game and show. Disgusting.
Yeah.
The obviously the blast off thing is pretty cool, though. I did go back and watch this scene too. It was better in the video game. I like it. In the video game, it was a whole long shot just of the front face, but for whatever reason, they needed to do a side shot, like insert shot twice in the TV show. You know, pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one shots are very special.
It's all Neil Druckmann's fault.
Because whose fault is it?
Neil Druckmann, the director.
Cuckman, true. I hate that guy.
Yep.
Halle Gross should have directed this goddamn episode. So even, you know, everything EliteAri is just a little bit worse in the show. What can I say?
Yep.
How come you don't have an example? Oh, I guess you were complaining about this in Mushoku Tensei. You know what it's like.
Yeah, I do, yeah. It's a shame. Batagati will never see his entrance again in the same way.
Yeah, you know, there were armies coming to get him, but not for me, EliteAri. Just like Joel's, I'll cry a little bitch in this dumb show.
Mm-hmm.
But you already saw the other one, so what am I complaining about?
Yep.
True. Well, there was a museum, EliteAri. Crazy.
She broke the window, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't so
like
loud.
That. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Wait, you were complaining because it was
like
loud?
You're permanently damaging this place.
Oh,
well, no, it was like
true.
It was like loud and disruptive, and it's like permanently damaged. And I'm like,
I think the displays, the exhibits, don't have glass on them in the video game, so she just went up and got one. So that's pretty cool, huh?
Right.
There was also more exhibits.
I wonder why there was no glass.
Yeah, you know, how'd that stuff stay there? So fermented for 25 years or something? You know, shut up, EliteAri. How about you kill yourself? Now, I didn't see it. I just saw in the background that it seemed like they didn't have glass. So maybe they did have glass, and I'm lying right now, EliteAri. You think I'm watching these shitty flashbacks over and over? I'm watching the other scenes, the good ones over and over. Now, am I forgetting anything else, EliteAri? What other scenes were there?
I am curious what year Eugene's glasses frame came out. Because it looks so modern. Like, there's no chance that those glasses existed in, like, 2000, right?
2003?
I just can't imagine it. Or 2003, whatever. Like, they just look so modern. I'm just hovering over it in my timeline here. I don't know. Someone, please, the glasses experts, let us know, please.
In this universe, they were old, EliteAri.
You know what? It would be crazy if we went to the first episode and someone else has like that exact frame, like frames, and it's like,
there's
a
reused prop, EliteAri. Gale's wearing the same glass. Oh, it's a memento, EliteAri. This is crazy.
Yep.
I'm sad. So, EliteAri, the moral of the story is that all the original stuff is good, all the non-original stuff is bad. Wait. I think I said what I meant.
I generally do agree. Like, my favorite scenes have always been the ones I don't remember, so it's probably true.
And the characterization is good because it's not annoying me half the time when they're different. With Eugene, what a unique young man. Gale, what a unique young lady. Joel's father, what a unique old man. The Great
Yep.
Cat. She wasn't pissing me off. But Ellie and Joel,
Mm-hmm.
pissing me off. Here and there.
That is true.
A little annoying.
Amen.
Ellie shouldn't have had a dumb room in the house. You know, she lives in the garage the whole time in the video game. That's genius. Genius, EliteAri.
Yep.
Well, you know, EliteAri.
And we love Lalo Salamanca. Great guy.
No,
Go
he
ahead.
beats his children. And I'm sure he's doing nefarious things in that show you like, too.
Perhaps. We'll see one day when you watch it.
The Great Better Call Saul. It'll be coming to a streaming platform near you soon. But I ain't watching it. Probably.
You're gonna like it. You're gonna like Kim Wexler from that show. I'm certain you're gonna like her.
It's just a lady
Anyway.
that's a lawyer, EliteAri. You think I like every lady?
Yep.
It's got a point, chat. Well, EliteAri, you better speak now or forever hold your peace.
Wait. What are you giving this episode out of 10?
I don't know. I usually default to everything regarding the show gets an 8.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
What do you give the game scene, like adaptation of this scene, or like not this scene, this episode, like the game content?
0. Terrible.
That is true because I know you don't like the flashbacks and stuff.
Wait, I thought you meant the adaptation
Okay.
of the game stuff, not the game
no,
stuff
sorry,
itself.
no. I mean the game content that's like the stuff in this episode. What do you think of that? Like, is that like a 10 or is that like because it's flashbacks? It's like less.
That it's not my favorite, but obviously everything in The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a 10, EliteAri. You'll never get me on the record saying anything otherwise.
All right, excellent.
Porch scene's the best scene in anything you've ever seen.
True, but because of the context, right?
Context is important. Context is important to get the layers, EliteAri. The layers. That's what's good about The Last of Us
True, the core
Part 2.
themes, right?
No, not themes.
Yeah.
Fuck themes. You got to get the layers of the interpersonal relationship.
Yep.
True. Well, EliteAri, I thought we were going to go forever for this one, but we went a little bit shorter. This is great.
Yep.
We made no sense for 20 minutes. You just let me yap, so thanks for that. Now,
You're welcome.
I probably you know, when I used to do the great long notes, EliteAri, we used to make a lot more sense. I'm just saying, on physical paper. I'm going to chalk this up to digitality.
You know what you need? You need one of those
The
tablets
blind
that
wave
you can, like,
things.
write on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're genius.
That'd
I
be very
like them.
funny.
It is
'Cause
great,
feels like
EliteAri.
paper, you know?
Because I
Yeah.
am a hoarder with paper. Like, all of my to-do lists that I do, I don't throw them out immediately. I got my little main desk. This is staying in. Fuck you guys. I got my little main desk. Strawberry sundaes are the best. I got my little main desk, EliteAri, and I'm doing my little to-do list in my pad. Play 1 page of of Chrono Trigger walkthrough. Cross that one off. Watch You Season 5 Episode 1. Cross that one off. Talk to EliteAri about Shitty The Last of Us. Cross that one off. Then, obviously you don't do everything on your to-do list. Let's not get crazy. Rip it off, EliteAri, and you would think you'd put it in the bin. It's a to-do list. Why would you ever need to look at this again? But no, I put it on my other desk over there. And then after, when that gets full, I put it in the drawer. And then, EliteAri, when the drawer gets full, then we can start throwing things out. But, EliteAri, the point of this...
recycling bin, right?
Yes, we got a recycling bin, all right? Or a paper shredder, and then you put it in the recycling bin. Because the paper shredder is pretty cool.
Nice.
Now, the point is, EliteAri, with one of these thingies, I can just do the little thingy up and down and get rid of it, and then I got no excuse. I don't have to deal with this whole process. You're a genius.
Yep.
That's all I had to say. Now, you were going to jump in and
I have
say
one more
something.
thing to say, which I suddenly remembered, which is that if only we had our Sunday conversation this week instead of last week. Because yesterday I ordered McDonald's and I was like, oh, I'll get a sundae. And then I wanted the one with the choc topping, which I knew obviously there is like the chocolate topping. And I was like, okay, let me get that.
It sucked.
So I pressed the chocolate. I pressed the chocolate option, and it came with a chocolate sundae, and it was like the actual thing was chocolate.
Like the
I was
ice cream
oh
was
my
chocolate.
God, this is crazy. Yeah. So if that happened like last week, I wouldn't have doubted you. I'd be like, oh wow, you can actually even have the ice cream be like a different
Yes,
flavor.
you can get the
It's crazy.
I don't think there's strawberry ice cream, but there's definitely chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, I had no idea you could even customize that.
I've never had
yeah,
anything but
crazy.
the great vanilla ice cream at McDonald's.
Yeah, neither had I until it's crazy.
God, EliteAri, I nearly got McDonald's at work for lunch today, but then I said you got to save money, so it's a $2 bread roll for you.
Excellent.
You know, chat, if you'd give me all your money, I wouldn't have to save money, frankly. Now, EliteAri, before this next episode comes out, there better be a scripted Last of Us video on that fucking channel, right?
That would shock me drastically. I don't think it will come out, but
Hold
you
on,
never know.
EliteAri, I got the document here. Show Dina
Mhm.
is not better than game Dina. Isabella Merced's rendition of Dina in The Last of Us Part 2 is turned
Isabella what?
events. Rendition?
No, Isabella what? How do you say your name?
Mercedes?
I don't even know if that's correct, but maybe it is.
Oh, you want to shit talk me? Who gives a fuck how you say your name?
Probably the person that you're naming, you know.
If she sees this, call me EliteAri. She's a pretty girl.
All right.
You ever notice that?
Well, wait, I was going to say, well, hello, everyone. What's that? How do you end the thing?
It's going to be out. That's the message of this tale, EliteAri. And
Okay.
so will Chainsaw Man be out on Wednesday. And EliteAri's Doctor Who reaction will be out before the next one, too.
Yep.
It's the last one, EliteAri. Then we never have to do this again. Did you see Duncan Egg got delayed till next year, EliteAri? So we don't even have to do that this year.
Did it really?
Yep.
No, I didn't hear that.
Everybody was very mad about it. They're like, oh no, it's ruined.
Oh boy.
George said like 7 months ago that he saw drafts of the episodes and thought they were good.
Well, that's good.
Apparently not good enough. There ain't dragons in this show, EliteAri. They're all dead by that point. What the fuck's the hold up? Anyway.
There'll be White Walkers, I'm sure.
I don't think so. Now, EliteAri, you can say the outro now.
Support links in the description below. Thanks.